market. So I'd like to quickly learn about this market, and also I like to grow. I love the growth, so I do my best to contribute the growth of our business in India.
All right, all the best.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Hine-san. Thank you.
Asia Pacific Customer Engagement Forum and Awards was held in Mumbai. The mission of ACEF is to elevate customer engagement initiatives and practices in the Asia Pacific region by showcasing the best campaigns, activities and initiatives as benchmarks for others to emulate. The ACEF program is organized by a team of professionals from India, Sri Lanka and UAE, and is guided by the advisory board members from branding, marketing and creative agencies based in India, US, Australia, Singapore, UAE and Sri Lanka. Opening keynotes were shared by Tony Eads, Director of Brand Strategies, the Brand Manager, Nitin Agarwal, AVP, shopclues.com, Dheeraj Kumar, National Head, Creative Solutions and Services, Reliance Broadcast Network Limited.
G'day Mumbai. You're supposed to say g'day back. So g'day Mumbai. This is my first visit, ladies and gentlemen, to India, in fact. So I'm loving the country, I'm loving Mumbai, and thanks for having me for this wonderful occasion. So it's my pleasure to do the keynote, to get things underway for our wonderful awards ceremony and forum right here in Mumbai. I want to talk to you today about the omni-channel brand experience. You've heard about my intro, so I won't go through that. I'm going to get straight into how we kind of used to see marketing or advertising not that long ago. Do you remember when things used to be rather simple? When we kind of used to feel like this. And what used to happen is the phone calls used to come in, the customers used to call us, we used to call them back, and things were very simple. And the reason for that is because the landscape looked very similar to this. Very simple. Advertising was the main way of doing things. We might do a bit of field work, we might have a bit of PR out there as well. But if we fast forward to the present day, things kind of look a little bit more confusing. And as brands and marketers today, we're kind of faced with this kind of confusion about where do we need to take our message and how do we need to get it across. And that's probably because the landscape looks a little bit more like this. So when we're trying to think about how we're going to get our message out to market these days, we're kind of faced with this complete kind of ecosystem, if you like, of how things are and how we're going to get our message across town. But we're not alone, because consumers actually feel a little bit like this. And if you put your head in the world of the consumer, who kind of feels a bit like this when you're faced with another bit of content, another email that comes through, or another LinkedIn profile that you've got to connect with. So we're kind of entering this world where the term is called content shock. We're kind of reaching this area where they say around 2 million blog posts and 300 billion emails are going out daily. That's the content that we're sending out. And consumers are kind of reaching that limit. They're reaching the threshold where they're saying, hey, this is just too much. There's too much content out there. So if we have a look at why that is, this particular graph or stat from Nielsen shows us that in the next few years, content is going to increase by an amazing 500%. That's content creation. So you think there's a lot of content out there now, but in a few years' time, that's going to go by 5 times the amount. And that's why we're feeling this kind of content shock. But notice on that, the stat and the graph on your screen, that the consumption of content is actually plateaued. We've kind of reached an area. So as marketers and brands today, we have to think about how can we creatively get our content across to the consumer and to our customers and prospects. And that's what we're going to talk about today. Google found that purchases happened in some unexpected places. 39% in the kitchen, 28% in the car, and 21% search for things in the bathroom. So things are certainly changing. So our brand needs to kind of change too. We've got to realise that people, when they're buying big projects or have big goals, do it in micro moments. Research happens when waiting in a queue. It happens during a lunchtime break. Sitting in an airport or a train station. Whenever there's a spare moment in a busy day, that's when they're starting on their buying and continuing their buying journey. So part of that is the fact of the mobile has done that. The smartphone has enabled us to. As marketers, we need to now realise that if we continue just to put content out there for content's sake, or we just continue to advertise for advertising's sake, we're preparing to fail. The world has changed and we need to change too. And if you think your content won't cut through as normal content, so advertising is the answer, then just think about the new generation of millennials. 63% of millennials claim to use ad blockers. So if you're using some form of advertising to cut through to this massive new market of the next buyers, then just think again, because ad blockers are obviously becoming part and they're choosing what they actually want to look at. Audience intelligence and personalised content is now becoming the effective medium for communication today. There's a new fluid and seamless online experience that we need to create. So 2016 is all about moving further than just having a responsive website that works across multiple different devices. It's now a part of thinking about the customer experience. What is our customer doing? Where are they? Some of those magic moments that you thought and you saw there, how do we actually communicate with them effectively and personalise that buying experience and our message to our consumers? We also need to think about how do we combine our online experience with our offline experience. On a digital platform it can be a little bit easier because we know where our consumers or our prospects are, but how do we combine the offline with the online? So this sort of takes us into this omni-channel world. I'd like to kind of look at it in terms of if we want an analogy for how things are moving forward in terms of the digital ecosystem, think of it as the complex transport system of London. Probably as complex as you have here in Mumbai, but this is for those of you that have been to London, this is the transport network when you get there. So if you're a traveller and you want to get from A to B, you're faced with this kind of mess of transport options. As a buyer, it's the same way. Your journey you have to make. You decide, okay, I have an issue, I have a problem, and I need to go on a journey, and I need to get to a destination. But how? There's so many options, so many distractions. So how do we make that experience as brands timely, seamless and easy? Well, how they do it in London is by using the smart card. And you've seen these sort of cards all over the place. I think, I'm not sure if you have one here yet in Mumbai. I know in Delhi there's one, I think it's called Best, which is a card that gets you around. This is the Oyster card from London. So if you think about this as your brand for a moment, the Opal card we have in Sydney, which is similar to this. What it enables you to do is choose your mode of transport. You can choose whether you want to travel by bus, rail, river, trams, or even the tube. You pay once and once only. And then with one card, you swipe on one transport network to the other. A seamless experience as you travel to your destination. So as brands, I challenge you to think like this. We need to create a seamless, personalised experience across all the multiple channels that our consumers, customers and prospects are using. They choose them, we need to be there. So I like to look at it as though nowadays as marketers and as brands, we need to lie with our customers. Now it's not the deceptive advertising or whatever from the past, it's lie in a different way. We need to lie on the same level as our customers, be on their level and understand them as real people and communicate them with real messages in real time when they actually need it the most. So in a nutshell, as we come to the close of the keynote today, it's about thinking about how we can make snackable content work for our customers. Can we solve their problem in snackable content in less than 60 seconds? If we're doing content at all, can we promote it better, the same as you saw with Virgin Trains? Can we create a whole campaign, a whole omni-channel experience around our message?
E-commerce buzz has never been bigger, with aspiring entrepreneurs looking for the next big idea and the government's aim to digitize India. But where is this industry headed and what lies ahead? We take a closer look at the people and companies that are transforming the sector. The early morning buzz
as the opening bell rings and trading begins.
We get you news that's moving stocks and the economy.
And we tell you how that impacts your trades and your investments.
Catch all the latest news updates and everything you need to know
to stay ahead of the game.
Start early and stay sharp. Get street smart.
In association with Hyundai, winner of 3 Indian Car of the Year awards.
Who are we? Where do we come from? What is the purpose of our life? Close your eyes, speak within, find your answers, be self-realized, get victimized.
Has a podcast. Sip India Sip, Mango Sip.
In the ever-buzzing world of mid-caps, staying updated is the key to making the right decisions. Track the eye-catching mid and small-cap stocks and find out what's really driving them. Get all that you need to know in the world of mid-caps. Catch the final word on the world of marketing and advertising. Decode the latest trends with the influencers and the men and women who drive the sectors. It's all about the art of selling. Join Vikram Oza on Logo.
Good evening, everyone. It's a privilege to be here to talking to all of you, sharing my learnings. I'll carry on from where Tony left. Tony talked about consumer micro movements and talked about how we can get into the life cycle of consumer, right? And that's where I will also plug in, and I'll talk about how we can catch the consumer trends early, how ShopClues has done it, and how we can use these as triggers to build salience for the brand, to build differentiation for the brand. It's every marketeer's dream to manufacture desire for the brand. We are living in a world where every consumer is inundated by brands and by communication, advertising all along, so from outdoor to radio to print to TV to mobile. Every single medium or every single content piece is inundated with a lot of advertising and communication from different brands. So every marketer wants to generate more pull for his brand rather than try to do a push or a sale-oriented communication. How do you do that? That's a big question brands are asking today. But the key to generating desire lies in changing habits. We've always thought and spoken of how brands should live very, very close to their consumers, how they should understand how consumers are spending their time or how they're consuming their products, how they're spending their money. And if you can make a change in that, in any life cycle, that gives a brand a big opportunity to become a part of the consumer's lives. We were in a market of the big three, Amazon, Flipkart and Snapdeal. They had left very little media and mind share for ShopClues to compete. And we were a late entrant into the space. We were the 35th entrant in the e-commerce market. And we were focusing more on unstructured categories and smaller brands. And we had 1/3 of the budgets of these competition. Another big dimension during the time was app penetration. So during the start of 2015, we saw this smartphone explosion, wherein smartphone growth was 10 million a month. Right, so 10 million customers were getting added on smartphones every month, and they were using smartphones to buy online. In fact, this was the only device which they were using to buy online. So increasingly, we were fighting for not just for mind space, we were also fighting for screen space on the mobile phone. And what were the other companies doing? They were trying to incentivize downloads by offering discounts, specialized discounts on app and specialized schemes on app. So how do we connect with the audience through all this clutter? E-commerce was the second largest sector in advertising in India, which meant just in e-commerce alone, 5,000 crores of money was pumped in advertising. So media is washed out, and consumers are already buying with these companies which have been there for far longer than we have. So how do we make ourselves relevant and differentiated in consumers' mind? So we went back to the drawing board. One of the big trends we saw was surge in traffic during evening hours. So a lot of consumers were consuming content like Facebook, YouTube, and other online media during the evening hours. We dug deeper to see who was this audience, what was they doing at this time, and what was the medium. Here is what we found for the audience. These were commuters. These are people stuck in traffic jams. I mean, Mumbai and Delhi, traffic jams is a living reality. They were time crunched. And in the evening time, they were looking for entertainment. They were looking for some release from their daily lives. And they were seeking more ways to get more out of their commute time. So 6 to 9 was the ideal hour. Medium was the phone and the app on the phone, because that was a personal device which you had. And through the app, through the phone, you could access the internet and chat with people. You could do the social surfing, and that's how people was kind of spending their time. So this gave us ideas, this gave us some insights on what we need to do, and this is what we came up with. We saw a huge opportunity of not just a sale or an app incentivization scheme, we saw an opportunity to change a habit. We created an appointment with shopping. We created the Ghar Vapsi sale. We created the homecoming sale. Everywhere we screamed out, 9 se 6 kamao and 6 se 9 bachao. So clearly telling the customer that you've done the day's hard work of being in the office, of working hard for your income. But 6 to 9 is the time when you can save and shop at shop close and use the commute hour, use the commute time to start shopping. So we did it in leading markets of India. We did it in the leading traffic intersections of India where we see maximum jams. We also did it in a lot of cab branding. So people all around during the traffic hours, they saw our campaign, they saw our communication.
First of all, I really want to thank Tarun and Agnel for giving me this slot to do this radio session. How radio should be done? We have been doing radio from I'm doing radio from last 13 years, 10 years in Big FM, and largely we are building great consumer insights to start with our programming, to do our shows, and to do our key properties. And we are also building consumer insights to do radio advertising in a right manner, right? So before we start talking about, I'll just take you through some very interesting work that we have done, and you know how it reflects good consumer insight. I'll quickly take you through very basic, which is very important. So how marketers are using radio? They are using terrestrial radio, which is largely AM and FM, and what it stands for consumers. So there's a parochial pride and sense of belongingness. You know, regional festivals are bigger now for regional people. City occasions are becoming bigger and better because local radio stations are celebrating them in a very great manner. You have malls activations, you have radio celebrations and all that. So people are taking a lot of parochial pride and sense of belongingness to the medium. It's a platform to share point of view and become advocates. So consumers are largely coming on. So digital is a great platform for consumers. If they have a bad experience with any brand, they will write something about it. The interaction with RJs, the interaction on radio, also giving them that power to speak about civic bodies, any brand experience, any personal experience. For marketers, it's the largest local reach and consumer engagement, right? Highly effective in delivering customized message and also geographically rolling out new products. You can really use hyper-local campaign. You need not to do a national campaign and utilize radio in a great manner in your campaign, right? And there's a great synergy with targeted digital marketing. So now, a lot of campaigns when we get where clients are using digital, they want us to do great radio along with that, because they want us to promote whatever they are doing online. It's very well can be promoted. What RJ talking to people, you have to just give them the hashtag or a website or microsite address, and if you're listening to radio, you can just, if you're listening to radio on your mobile, you can just quickly go to your mobile and just interact or do whatever RJ has spoken about. Message on radio is very real. It's very organic, the way consumers are. So if RJ is interacting with a consumer or doing a contest, it's the way you talk to your friend, right? Interactivity on radio enables two-way communication. So when you're doing a TV ad or or a press ad, you're not talking to your consumer. But when you are engaging consumers to RJs or shows, I'm not talking about typical radio advertising here, right? You're talking to them like a friend. So brand is talking to their consumers like a friend. And storytelling is a heart and soul of radio. You know, and I believe, and our team believe, the marketers are brand storytellers. You know, if they start telling stories in a better manner on radio, you know, they can create great relationship with their consumers.
The concept of philanthropy is slowly but steadily growing in India. What are the ways in which you can give back to society, and how can you participate in such activities?
Three options is what you have, is to create a charitable trust, a society, or lastly an NPO, a non-profit organization.
And we'll get you a special conversation with Nilesh Shah of Kotak Mutual Fund.
If you listen to the God himself, Warren Buffett, he says stocks are like your kids. You just hold them forever. If you see Sachin Tendulkar, he faced some 22,000 plus balls. But with 16,000 runs, he is still God of cricket. The stock market is also like this. You just save your wicket, wait for that loose ball to come, and whenever it comes, you hit it for a six.
At these times, only on Bloomberg TV India. We'll talk all things golden, the gold monetization scheme and gold funds.
The scheme typically talks about that if I can deposit my gold, which could be in the form of gold coins, my bars, even jewelry, that deposit will start earning you a fixed interest rate. Also, whenever that maturity comes, you'll be getting the value of the gold as of that day. Now, this scheme offers you a waiver of taxation both on the interest and on capital gain in the form of capital gain tax.
Hello?
Sir, I'm calling from IRDA. I want to talk to you about a new insurance policy.
Yes, tell me.
With this policy, your savings will become double in 5 years and you will also get a good bonus.
Oh, so you're calling from IRDA, is it? Can you hold on for a moment? Let me patch in a friend into this conference.
Yeah, tell me. I am calling from IRDA Hyderabad, sir.
But I've traced this call and it seems like you're calling from some shop in Lajpat Nagar, Delhi. You're trying to fool people in the name of IRDA. Do I come and give you a whack? IRDA or its officers never endorse such insurance or bonus schemes. Anyone who receives such calls are requested to file a police complaint against the number and give details. Know what's right and wrong. Don't play along.
On the show this week, we drive the most powerful and athletic offering from Jaguar, the F-Type R-Cruise. We ride the sport tourer from Kawasaki, the Versys 650. And as Italian superbike maker MV Agusta launches its entire range of bikes for Indian market, we speak to the global and Indian management on their plans for India.
We are planning to hopefully tie up with more brands and have a range starting from 5 lakhs up to 30 lakhs in years to come.
Most awaited winners in individual organization and the special awards. Most admired mobile app. It goes to National Development Bank PLC, Sri Lanka. National Development Bank PLC, Sri Lanka. Congratulations, sir. Next up, most admired customer engaged website. It goes to Workers Tools Limited, Sri Lanka. Moving ahead, Digital Marketing Professional of the Year. It goes to Brijesh Munyal, iProspect. Next up, Integrated Marketing Professional of the Year goes to Chandra Mohan Mehra, Sony Sub, Sony Pictures Networks Private India Private Limited. Next up, PR Professional of the Year. It goes to Mr. Ajay Pawar, Godrej Properties Limited. Print Media Professional of the Year. It goes to Vinay Maheshwari, Dainik Bhaskar Group. Keep the whistles blowing because most admired brand marketing team goes to Dainik Bhaskar Group. Nice. Next up, preferred email marketing and marketing automation partner goes to Netcore Solutions. Netcore Solutions, congratulations. Next up, most admired ambient media agency of the year. It goes to Khushi Advertising. Next up, social media brand of the year. It goes to Star Plus. Most admired social media agency of the year, and the award goes to MRM McCann. Next up, media and entertainment business of the year. Can I hear some whistles coming from this side? Because the award goes to Dainik Bhaskar Group. Next up, most admired customer engaged online media. And the award goes to India Today Group. Next up, most admired customer engaged television channel, and it goes to Sub TV. Next up, customer engaged newspaper, and the award goes to Bajao Seetiyan, Dainik Bhaskar Group. Most admired OOH media agency for customer engagement. It goes to Postoscope India. And hashtag finally, most admired radio station for customer engagement. It goes to 93.5 Red FM!